Milwaukee has a couple of pieces like Gary Neal that the teams are interested in, playoff teams that want to make a run, want another shooter on the floor. So they'll make a deal. I think Boston's looking. I don't know that Boston. I mean, Boston's got, they got Chris Humphries and they got Gerald Wallace, so they got a couple of pieces. And Humphries is an expiring contract, so they could do something, but it's going to have to be a very specific thing.
And Boston has a lot of the same pieces.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's just eclectically doesn't match.
Yeah. I mean, I could see somebody maybe taking a run at Humphries if they want another big body for the playoffs, but. I don't know that they have. I don't think they're going to move Rondo. If they do move Rondo, it'll be this summer, I think.
You mentioned Denver. Are there still people interested in Kenneth Faried?
Yes, I think there are. The question that people have about Faried is, what do you pay him? Like Taj Gibson got $33 million from the Bulls. And then you go all the way to the other end of the spectrum. Ibaka got $49 million. Those are the same types of players. I'm not saying they're the same player.
Ibaka,
right.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to pay him Ibaka money. So the question is, if I trade for him, what do I pay him in 2 years? But, yes, people are interested.
I'm going to ask the question I think all the fans would say, it's not going to happen or it isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
With Dwayne Wade's injury and LeBron James, do you think it's any moves that they can make? Do you think any of the top 4 teams will make any moves to win a championship, or that basically championship teams are who they are going to be the rest of the year?
Well, I think OKC, again, would like one more shooter. I think they'd love to have another guy coming off the bench that could shoot. I think Indy's good now with Bynum. They're cool. I don't think they're going to do anything else. Miami's looking for a wing. The question is, we don't really have anything to trade. They're not going to give you Chalmers, I don't think. And he's the only guy that's young enough, I think, that people would be interested in. Other than that, they don't really have anything.
The one thing I was saying, I was saying really Taj Gibson's no Ibaka, not Kenneth Faried.
Right.
I think overall, the most interesting thing that happened to me before the trade deadline and now going into it is the Andrew Bynum situation, because what I thought Indiana did is they took him off the market.
I think
and then they're the clear-cut favorite, with the only thing that could help beat them is some more size.
Mm-hmm.
And so why would Andrew Bynum sign there? Why? Because there really isn't playing time.
Well, first, because they offered him $1 million, first of all.
Right.
Whereas Miami could only offer him a lot less.
Right.
So if it comes down to money and there's 2 good teams, take the team that's offering you more money. So that's what I think it came down to.
I take the team that can play more.
Yeah.
But
I think for him, though, he has to repair his identity, and he might be looking for some.
Maybe that's just enough time, considering his record. Tell me this: what are the chances Melo moves?
None right now. I don't think they'll do anything.
Because there's been a lot of
yeah,
that talk,
but Jim Dolan is not going to move Carmelo. Not at this point in the season. I don't think so. I think I think there's a better chance that Gasol gets moved. I'm not even sure that's going to happen. But I think Carmelo is safe for the rest of this season. They would like to try. Obviously, they want to try and re-sign him, or at least try to bring some players around him to convince him to stay, because he'll have options.
Yeah,
at the end of the year.
What team would you say that's going to try to go for it? Meaning they're on the verge, they're 5th seed, 4th, and then we need one player to get us over the hump. The James Harden move type thing. Who's going to do that?
Golden State's got to do something.
There it is.
Golden State has to do something. They're not good enough right now. They're good.
Right.
They're not good enough.
Right.
And speaking of Golden State and those teams, are coaching decisions tied to the trade deadline? So when you look at Golden State, Mark Jackson, you look at Melo, you look at the head coach there, are those tied in, or do they make the decision first?
I think in case of New York, the coaching thing is totally separate, because you've got so many things at play there, whether CAA is going to make the call or not, or somebody else. And they're going to look at a lot of different things at the end of the year, assuming Woody gets to the end of the year. I think Mark's okay in Golden State.
Mark. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any problem with Mark.
Do you think the Houston Rockets? Do you think the Houston Rockets are going to trade a Zeke, or are they going to?
They want to. They want to. Yeah.
And that's another situation.
Yeah.
How does a guy not play?
Yeah.
Like, how does he not? Because to me,
they insist
they can need him. They need him.
I know.
At times,
how does a guy not want to play?
Right.
You only get 4 or 5, one chance to win a championship. So to be a great backup for 1 year, because you're still going to have your value next year. Yeah. And to be able to be that backup, I don't understand.
This is the argument that they've made, is that we have a chance to do something with you, playing a role. You're not going to start, but you're going to come off the bench and you're going to help us.
Hey, DA,
he wants to start.
There are years.
I've never heard
There
of
are years when there's a lot of hype going into the trade deadline and nothing happens.
Yeah.
There are times when everything seems very calm and there's a blockbuster. What's your gut telling you about next week?
I think there will be some moves because there are teams, to your point, that feel like in this year maybe we can make a move. There's pressure on teams to make the playoffs. The city we're in, New Orleans, their owner said, hey, I want to try to make the playoffs. So there's teams like that. Washington, the owner said, I want to make the playoffs. Let's do that right now. So there are teams out there that are going to be a little bit more aggressive than they would be normally. The problem is with the draft, everybody thinks the draft is going to be so good. People are hoarding those first-round picks. That's usually how you get deals done.
David Aldridge, always great information. Always good to see you.
Well, I like to report through the tape. It's important.
That's
to
right, baby. Oh, man.
Oh, underdog, put that on the T-shirt. Run through the tape, report through the tape, play jazz through the tape.
Well played,
sir.
Aldridge. Well played.
Thank you, Mr. President. You run through the tape every day.
You're not
We thank you,
smiling.
Mr. President.
I'm all business. Look at
Right?